My fiance threatened to cancel our wedding if her parents can't live with us.
That feels like a romantic relationship that is not built on sturdy ground.
It's a quadruple. It's just with also their parents.
Yeah. The old wise people give you advice.
Yeah, just a little wisdom. Fiance, 27, female, threatens to call off wedding if I, male 26, don't let her parents, male 57 and female 50, move in with us after the wedding. Obviously, this comes off as a rich people problem, but up until 5 months ago, I was still living in a one-bedroom apartment working at a rather large supermarket retail store making $12 an hour and going to be paying off college debt until I was in my 60s. Buddy, that did not sound like a rich people problem.
I'm hoping,
Did it?
I feel like he's just being sarcastic.
My fiance is still working her nursing job, and we've been fully living together for 4 years. By the way, this comes from user throwaway9090897. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. Some background into our relationship. We met 6 years ago. There were literally zero issues with us dating. When it came to some sort of conflict, we sat down, explained both of our sides like adults, and generally fixed the problem. We've rarely gotten into arguments and have the same end goals in life. Have children, grow old together, die, be buried next to each other, and have fun whenever we can. I've always had an incredibly distant relationship with her parents. When she introduced me to them, they both stated they didn't like me to my face and thought I wasn't good enough. Her father even said, "Not in my lifetime," when I asked for his permission to marry his daughter, which I stated the only reason I was doing it was as an olive branch. My parents, on the other hand, love my fiance. They scooped her up like she was one of us from the start. They have never said anything bad about her in public nor in private. She, at least in my parents' eyes, is the metaphorical second coming of Christ. During my grandfather's decline in health, I was the first one there. He just got old, and with being old comes complications. I stopped working my higher paying job to work retail to have more time to take care of him because his other children were busy. This was a very stressful time in our relationship, and I had just recently left my job and was not around often, and I myself was super stressed. Recently, I've begun the slow move of everything over there. While we still have to live in our apartment until the lease agreement is up, there's nothing against the rules of me moving stuff out. I brought it up to my girlfriend how taking care of my grandfather has really made me realize how important my family is, and that I wanted to know if it was okay for my parents to move into the new house with us. My dad could retire and my mom can spend the rest of her life relaxing, not stressing over bills or debt, because I can pay that off over time. I'm not insane enough to pay it off all in one go. She expressed how that was an amazing idea and how she'd like her parents to move in as well. I laughed at that idea and asked her if she was serious and why would I want to live in a house with people I don't like nor want to interact with. She explained that this could be a good chance for us to heal old wounds and make amends. I explained that not only do I not want to heal old wounds, but if it was up to me, they wouldn't be coming to the wedding. Obviously, this was the wrong thing to say, and now she's giving the ultimatum of let them move in or the wedding is off. While I can understand her side, I seriously do not want to interact with them in any capacity. They've tried numerous times to get her back with exes, lied about me, and even spread a rumor about me being unfaithful until I pulled up real evidence of me being nowhere near where they said I was thanks to Google location. My fiance knows all of this and still wants to try to rebuild a relationship with them. This past week, I've been avoiding her with excuses and white lies. I've been meeting with accountants, lawyers, wedding venue people, and jewelers. I've also been spending all-nighters at my grandfather's grave, drinking with him, and not getting back home until 4 a.m. To me, it feels like my grandfather is still the only person I can vent my deepest secrets and frustrations to. So, Reddit, this is why I've come to you. I feel trapped. On one hand, I do not want to live with people I absolutely hate. On the other hand, I do not want to lose the woman of my dreams. I want a third party's opinion on the matter with no connection to me whatsoever, as I feel it's the best way to make a good judgment without people close to me influencing my choices. I'm more than willing to answer questions and know how this subreddit works because I, too, am a pizza-eating, pimple-popping Redditor myself. I'll accept that. Yeah, I'll accept that. Amazing Cabinet 1404 says, I really didn't understand understand the "she clearly isn't with me for my money" in the opening paragraph because, yes, OP, she is with you for your money. There are a lot of subtle ways to be with someone for their money without making an outright demand for it. She could be planning to quit her job, pay zero expenses, and keep her funds to the side, have herself and her parents live in your house rent-free. There are many problems. The ultimatum is a huge one, but further than that is you might not have recourse to make her parents leave once they've established residency in your home. There's a lot there. I'm just going to go to OP's reply. OP says, first of all, thank you for your reply. Much like the 99% of others' comments, it really gave me a sense of direction. I'd like to address a few things as to my thought process after reading your comment because I did think about the what ifs, at least for my parents, which would apply to hers if they moved in. Newsflash, I'll pass away before I let them, her parents, move in. My parents would keep the proceeds from selling their house as I have no need for it. Utilities are not an issue. I own the water rights to a natural aquifer spring thingy underground. As for the power, a lot of it is solar energy, which can keep the house going nonstop as long as it's charged. My grandfather was one of those doomsday, the government is out to get you crazy old men. I knew about the hunting cabin. I just didn't think it was this big or advanced. So I'll literally never need to pay anything on the property other than tax. I plan to have my parents enter a renting contract and they'd be able to rent out their area and live on the property, use its land or whatever for $1 a month. Just in case they piss me off, I can evict them. As for insurance, my dad served 23 years in the military and my mom, being his wife, gets that insurance as well. Unless they run out of money, they'll be paying their own insurance. While technically speaking, I'd be buying their groceries, my father and I love to hunt and fish, so a lot of our food will be produced on our own. Mom has always wanted a garden and she can't grow one in the city. Also, no, they wouldn't go on trips with us. As for the hypothetical, if her parents moved in, I wouldn't be paying for anything and they'd be paying me the real price to live on my property and extra because I don't like them.
$10,000 a month.
You might think California rent is high. The auditor I hired to see the value of the estate valued rent for a room at an extortion level of money. Thank God Grandpa bought this land when milk cost your left shoelace and a blueberry. My parents got money, and it was nowhere near what I got, but they got a fair share. Oh, maybe that's where the money came from. There's an inheritance. Grandpa passed and dad, now he's got all this
rich.
grandpa money.
Okay, I see.
So they didn't abandon my grandfather, my parents. In fact, they visited as often as they could, given my dad's work schedule and the distance. It was never viable to visit more than once or twice a year. The only reason I was so close was because I went to college in the same state where he lived and stayed because of my fiance. I've already been working closely with accountants and lawyers who've all projected me moving in my parents and living with them for the next 30 to 40 years of my life. Will not dent my money in any significant way. I've already invested money and put money into accounts to generate interest. I won't be losing money unless I buy mega yachts, jets, helicopters, and supercars. And I hate supercars. I'm happy driving my crappy 12-year-old pickup truck because it works. I don't expect her parents to respect me, my money, or my home. I've thought in great detail how my parents would be independent of my finances, and my parents have never done me wrong, never given up on me, and encouraged me my entire life. The least I can do is make the rest of their lives something they never dreamed would come true. My dad would have had to work until he passed away to provide for my mom and take care of the debt they had acquired, to live and / take care of me. I wanted them to be happy and I want them to be close. This will be my only update post available for this subreddit. In the 48 hours since I've posted, that thing took off like a rocket ship. I'd like to start off by thanking everyone for their opinions. While a majority of you told me to leave, others offered compromises, logical alternatives, and gave me questions I didn't even think to ask myself. I'll put a TLDR at the bottom, but I probably won't need it. I think this has been the longest 48 hours of my life. Reading through comments, responding to them, having meetings IRL, and talking with my fiance have really given me clarity on what my next choices in life are going to be. One, I've postponed the wedding.
Oh.
I did not expect that.
Wow. I thought they were going to work it out.
Maybe it's just the thing is, and we didn't really talk about this at all, but if you are throwing an ultimatum on the wedding, this actually happened to a friend of mine. It's like, well, if you're doing that in the first place, I don't even think we're ready to get married.
Yeah.
Because you're like hanging, you're making like this one thing, well, do this or we won't get married. It's like, you can't do that.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, that's boxing you in, restricting the freedom. Like, it's, again, not what a good marriage should be based on. You're starting off on a bad foot.
While some of you may refer to it as calling her bluff, I call it waiting and seeing. As of right now, we're really talking about how compatible we truly are, going over our goals in life again, and talking in depth about the relationship we want with our in-laws if we got married. Apparently, a lot had changed since the last time we talked about it. Before I got money, some of you called it. 2, yes, she genuinely thought moving her parents in would make my relationship with them better over time. I've expressed that as a result of all they've said and done to me, any positive relationship or communication with them will only be done out of necessity. For example, if she was pregnant, in the hospital, or during any life-altering complication or celebration. She did not take this well, but that was expected. It's important I tell my truth. She believes I'll come around and try to build a relationship with her parents, but as of right now, I can't see myself doing it. Number 3, my parents won't be moving in, as I haven't even asked them yet. I know some of you were confused and assumed it was already happening. It was not. I asked if it was okay if they could, not telling her it was happening. Some of you suggested that maybe moving them in as newlyweds was weird and suggested building them a small house on the property. I didn't think about that, and will talk to my accountant and parents about it whenever the conversation needs to be had. Nice idea, Reddit strangers. What have I been doing? A lot of meetings about my future, my finances, and setting up trusts and wills. I'll be re-enrolling into school to take classes on business, finances, accounting, and economics, as my accountant suggested I do. We're still working on a budget, but as of right now, my next steps are furthering my education to manage my newfound wealth and opportunity in a healthy way so as not to blow it. As of right now, to be honest, I'm emotionally drained. I think the weight of my grandfather's passing is finally hitting me despite it being months later. The only thing that kept me going was the idea of the wedding day. And now that it's postponed, I can really only focus on myself, my values, and my emotions. Staying up all night and drinking at a gravesite isn't healthy. Well, it's good that you know that, OP.
It still
That's
sounds
the first
like a good
thing
time.
you need to know. I've not only promised myself to cut back on the booze, but also not to stay up drinking. I've been thinking about maybe getting into some sort of therapy or grief counseling.
Smart.
Yes.
Win.
Big thumbs up for that, but I need to make sure that it's in the budget with my accountant, as that's a long-term thing. Maybe they know someone. Couples counseling. To those that suggested it, that's a wonderful idea. However, I'm not sure if I can move past her strange, dependent relationship with her parents. Initially, I thought I could, but with the rose-tinted goggles off, I'm starting to see a lot of red flags, and I'm not too confident a therapist or wedding could solve it. We both have issues we need to work through, but right now I'm not sure if we'll be working through them together. I know a lot of you said to drop the relationship, but I think after 6 years, it's worth giving it a try to save it. Making a choice like that without trying to fix the problem seems silly, but I did expect a lot of those answers to come through. It's just how Reddit is. See, they know. Just know that I know my worth, I know my values, and I'm not backing down. Maybe we won't work things out and the relationship will just end. Maybe things will work out and we can continue. At least for now, 48 hours later, it's too soon to tell. 6, as for the prenup, we haven't signed anything yet. A lot of you were really harping on the nice ring and fancy vacations once a year thing. While the vacation compromise is indeed concerning, the ring issue is something we've been having conflict on for a while. My personal opinion before and now is that rings are overpriced, silly, and serve no significant purpose in a relationship. She says that they're an important symbol of love and commitment. The compromise to the prenup in regards to the ring was I actually buy her a better ring than I already had, which sounds super predatory in those words, but it makes sense in my mind. She doesn't want a Titanic heart of the ocean style jewelry piece, just something a bit more noticeable. I probably should have elaborated on that in my original post, but hey, everybody makes mistakes. To some, it sounds like gold digger mentality, but I know the price range of the ring she wants, and it's about the same range my dad spent on my mom's ring. It's something you'd see on a middle-class woman's finger. Nothing huge, nothing small, just enough, I guess. Why are we making all these judgments like that?
Also, maybe I just because I'm a romantic, but I just don't like how non-romantic this is.
Yeah,
I want there to be I want it to be a little romantic.
What's the
Come
movie
on.
where they had the plastic rings that they got out of like the vending machine?
I'm not sure, but it sounds cute.
All you need is a sentiment. It's all in the sentiment.
This is too much business.
Yeah, I still think they're just silly circles of metal and compressed dirt. There's not much to say. We sat down and talked for a while. I explained my side of things. She explained hers. She was upset I was postponing the wedding, but once she realized I wasn't going to fold, so she agreed under the notion that it was best for our relationship to work on this before marriage. Right now, I'm taking a step back from her to clear the air and give us time to formulate what we want on our own. I've driven the 2 hours to the cabin. Thankfully, the internet people hooked that up yesterday. I've talked to my parents, not about them moving in, but about the situation as a whole, leaving out that I went to the internet before I went to them. While my dad can't just abandon his job, he sends his love and support. My mom is currently making the 18-hour drive so I wouldn't be alone by myself. I've gotten attempted phone calls from the in-laws within the last 24 hours, but I've watched them ring and went back to doing my everyday tasks like lawn work, meal prep, reading, and binge watching Netflix.
I like that he's a simple guy that likes simple things,
Simple things.
Yeah.
And you know what you can do? It's pretty simple.
Yeah.
You can go binge listen to full episodes with stories just like this on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and iHeartRadio and wherever you listen to podcasts. What do they have to search?
OK Storytime,
And
wherever podcasts are.
And it's that easy. It's strange, but right now I feel happier alone than I do with my fiance. Oh, buddy, you shouldn't marry this woman then.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe it's some sign that it's not meant to be. Maybe I've finally just been able to relax for the first time in years and have found comfort in solitude. Maybe I'm happy my mom is going to cook me my favorite dinner as a child to cheer me up. I think as of right now, though, I have a lot of work to do, not only emotionally, but also literally. I'm thinking about doing some telework just to have a mainstream of income part-time, as I'll probably get bored of being jobless in about a week. I need some hobbies. It's like, I'm already going to get bored of being incredibly rich.
Yeah.
I got to do something else.
I feel like maybe grow your imagination,
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of things that you could do.
Brother, you don't have hobbies yet? I don't know if you're ready for marriage. You still got to get hobbies.
You got to develop yourself.
Yeah, dude.
But that's where that story ends. Would love to know what you guys think. So put your answers in the comments, in the chat. Do you think pumping the brakes on this relationship was a good idea? Let us know. My husband got upset over my outfit. He accused me of seeking male attention.
What were you dressed like? Some sort of male attention seeker?
Well, my husband, 37 male, let's call him Mark, and I, 34 female, have been having a rough few years. We got married in the fall of 2019, and after being together for 5 years before then, and over the course of a few months after the pandemic. By the way, this comes from Imaginary Guide 8273. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OK Storytime subreddit. So I had the misfortune of getting a pretty bad case of the vid near the beginning of the pandemic, was hospitalized for 2 weeks, which turned into the long vid. I wasn't completely disabled, but dealt with a lot of the typical symptoms: extreme fatigue, brain fog, reduced immune system, generally resulting in several bad infections. Oof. I didn't lose my job, but did have to take intermittent FMLA, which meant a lot of time without pay, and we racked up $20,000 in debt between the medical bills not covered by insurance and loss of some of my income. Although I tried to be mindful of my eating, I also gained 45 pounds thanks to being on antidepressants, several rounds of steroid medication, and not being able to exercise. Through all of this, Mark was incredibly loving and supportive. He never said a bad word about my weight, lack of energy, or inability to contribute financially at the same level as before. Finally, last summer, I started to feel a lot better, and most of the long vid symptoms subsided. I was able to return to work full time and had energy to work out again. In the past year, we have paid off all our debt and rebuilt our emergency fund, and I have lost 35 of the 45 pounds I gained. My doctor says this is a good place for me to end up. I was borderline underweight before and am now on the slimmer side of normal/healthy weight.
Good.
Freaking comeback. Let's go, OP.
Nice.
Mark and I hadn't been having many date nights since we got married between the pandemic, my illness, and then for the past year working to get our finances in order. However, to celebrate my birthday, we decided to have dinner at an upscale bistro and then go see the Barbie movie. He actually suggested the movie. This was last Saturday. My actual birthday wasn't for a few more days, but we wanted to go on the weekend. I was excited to dress up as most of my clothes had gotten baggy and drab during my illness and weight gain, but I was finally feeling comfortable in my own skin again. I decided to go full Barbie core. Pink sleeveless dress, faded at the top and then flared out, and pink kitten heels with a matching bag. That sounds like a fire fit. The money for the outfit came from a birthday check from my mom. She insisted that I spend it on something fun. When I put on the outfit, I felt really pretty for the first time in a long time. Unfortunately and surprisingly, Mark reacted badly to it. He said I looked slutty and attention-seeking and essentially accused me of trying to get attention of other men and that I should cover up more. I protested because, first of all, we were going to a restaurant, table for two, and a movie theater. When exactly was I going to be interacting socially with other men? Also, the outfit was quite dramatic and striking, but it wasn't revealing. Sleeveless dresses are pretty normal date night wear for a hot summer day, and it wasn't low cut. The neckline was at the collarbone and was on the longer side, calf length. But I didn't want to argue, so I put on a black knit cardigan over the dress. But it wasn't enough for Mark. Nope, still no dice for Mark. He said it was still attention-seeking. At this point, I really wanted to get going and not to miss our reservation, so I gave up on the dress and changed into fitted jeans and a pastel pink tunic top. Not fitted. Nope. Mark still said I looked like I was trying to attract other men, so I threw on a hoodie over the top, but then he said I looked sloppy. I was really exasperated by this point and asked if he wanted to come to my closet to pick an outfit that was acceptable, and he started yelling that I was too stupid to even understand that I was disrespecting him and that I didn't know how to dress myself. This seems like a man who's trying to pick a fight.
Yeah, anytime you go to your partner and you say, you're too stupid to know that you're disrespecting me.
And you're like, just
you're
tell me what you
buddy.
want. Tell me what you want.
You're being dumb.
Then he said he was going for a drive and was going to go to the movie without me. The tickets were on his phone. He came home after midnight, said he didn't want to talk and that he's going to sleep in the guest room. He has barely spoken to me since. My actual birthday was a couple of days ago, and he did not even acknowledge it. I begged him to please talk to me and tell me what was really going on, but he said he was still too angry. So, am I the a-hole for not trying to change my clothes yet again before our date for my birthday? I still don't know what he was really upset about and what sort of outfit would have been acceptable. And no, he's never once tried to make rules about what I could wear or commented at all on my clothes except to tell me that I look nice or that he likes certain colors on me. This really came out of nowhere as far as I can tell. And again, he selected the Barbie movie and planned the date, so it's not like I was strong-arming him into plans he didn't want. And there is an update. I did end up going to my mom's place for the weekend last weekend and had a nice girls' weekend with my mom and sister. We did see the movie on Saturday, got to wear my original planned outfit, yay, and then got brunch and had a fun salon outing on Sunday. Late afternoon, Sunday, I texted Mark, my husband, to say I was coming home in a couple of hours and that I hoped he would be ready to talk then. I would gladly hear him out regarding anything that had been upsetting him, but I really couldn't take the silent treatment anymore as it had been over a week by then. He just texted back, okay.
What?
A week?
Grown man giving you the silent treatment for a week is immediate grounds for not dating that person.
We did talk after I got home, and boy, it was a doozy.
Ooh, boy, howdy.
Oh, boy, howdy.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy, oh, boy. I love a good doozy. It turns out Mark has been building resentment for years since I first got sick with the vid nearly 3.5 years ago. Not so much in the first few months, but when it was clear my illness had turned into the long vid and an ongoing disability, he started to feel very put upon due to not being able to generate as much income, not being able to do my share of the housework and cooking, etc. He put up a good front because he knew it wouldn't be fair to take it out on me, especially when he could see I was doing my best to get better and do what I could on my better days. But ultimately, he got very burned out. And then after a year or so, he started seeking outlets, as in other women. He said at first it was just basically anonymous online spicy texting because the pandemic was still raging. But by early last year, he had formed an online emotional connection with someone in the area, whom he eventually met in person for a physical affair. Someone he is in love with now and still seeing.
Oh my God.
He said he's been trying to figure out what to do, especially as I've been getting better over the past year, lost most of the weight I gained, got back to fulfilling all my responsibilities at home and work, etc. But when I walked out in my Barbie core dress, expecting to have a romantic birthday date, he just couldn't do it. He couldn't go out and pretend to love me and be celebratory when he wanted to be with someone else. So he picked a fight when I couldn't win. And then, yes, when he walked out, he did take his affair partner to dinner and the movie instead. The thing is, I do understand him seeking some kind of outlet. I was sick for years.
Nah, dude, you're drinking his Kool-Aid.
And between physical ailments and brain fog, I wasn't able to participate consistently in the marriage on any level, not as an equal partner. We'd only been married a few months when I got sick, so it's not even like we had a lot of shared history to fall back on. I'm sure he must have felt exhausted, stressed, and lonely, especially as it wasn't certain I would be able to recover at all. I asked if he would consider marriage counseling. Oh, I mean, hey, I do think it's a good idea to get some kind of counseling, but I really feel like it's gonna be really hard to get back to a good relationship here. I don't know if it can get back.
Yeah, dude, I don't know if him taking out his affair partner for your birthday date, I don't know if you should come back from that. I think there's a level of self-respect you need to have to not let someone who did that to you back into your life as like a partner.
And recommitting to our marriage, but he said, sadly, that his heart had moved on. He did say he was so sorry that he never meant to fall in love with someone else and was just trying to be less lonely, and that I didn't deserve this, and I especially didn't deserve the way he treated me a couple of weeks ago. By the way, if you don't want to treat us like absolute crap, you should listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeart Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search OK Storytime. There's another relevant update. But yeah, I feel like you got to go towards divorce, but maybe gracefully exit divorce.
Dude. I mean, like, bottom line is, it's like once infidelity happens and cheating happens, it's whoever got cheated on is completely up to them whether or not they want to stay in it. However, given everything I've seen and heard in this story, I would not recommend OP try to salvage this.
I would run.
Because it's not like once your partner's like, I'm in love with someone else.
Yeah, it's a little rough.
I don't think you can undo that.
I guess divorce it is. I don't expect it will be very dramatic. We've been talking a lot over the past week. No more silent treatment to figure out how to divide stuff and try to make things cordial. In the end, I don't even think he is an a-hole. Maybe for the way he acted surrounding my birthday, but overall, I think he is just a human being who eventually broke down from stress and loneliness. I do wish him well, and I'm so grateful that at least I am healthy again for whatever life has next in store for me. And that is where that story ends. I do think OP is being as kind and understanding as possible, but I do also think maybe extend that kindness to yourself. Make sure you get the love and support that you need to move on from this.
I don't think that her grace is coming from the right.
It's not coming from the right place. Yeah,
it's coming from a place of where it's like, a lot of this is on me.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give him a pass because I shouldn't have been sick. I was difficult to be a partner to.
She's feeling bad about the sickness. And I feel like that is not being totally fair to you.